Okay, Parshas Vayishlach, Tafshin Pei Dalad. So I've got a very deep connection to this parsha, especially the story of Dinah and Shem. I'll just tell you a personal story because it's cute, and then I'll go into because it's actually a Torah on the whole Maisa of Dinah and Shem. So my daughter Dinah was born. She just had her 16th birthday. And so she was born not on Parshas Vayishlach, she was born on Parshas Vayetze, the Parsha before, on Shabbos. And she was born on Shabbos. And as I picked her up, I think I was the first one to hold her. I picked her, I looked at her, and I just looked at her and went, Dinah. It just came out my mouth. The first thing I said when I looked at her was just Dinah. Yeah. So anyway, we were in Shaarei Tzedek, and then I walked back that night in the middle of the night, and I davened in the minyan that I davened in at Shul, where I used to be a part of a Hasidus. And so I figured that I was going to be naming her on that Shabbos morning. So I called her Dinah when I picked her up. So the morning came, and I was ready for my Aliyah, and I got up to call her. We're going to call her Dinah Baylor, and then the Rebbe was like, no, you don't name her until next week. So I was like, okay, fine. So wait till next week. That's the minhag. If she's born on Shabbos, then by this Hasidus, they name them next week. So what happens over the week is my wife and I start thinking, and we ended up deciding on a different name. Yeah?
Oh.
Yeah, different name. So the next Shabbos, we spent the whole week going backwards, forwards, and we decided on a completely different name. And the next Shabbos, I'm there davening at my minyan, and I'm davening Pesukah de Zimra, and I'm being destroyed in my mind because my wife's at home, whatever, and I'm having the name Dinah coming into my mind. You have to call her Dinah, and I didn't know what to do. It's very intense, and it gets to the Aliyah. I get to I kind of put it out in my mind, and I was like, no, this is not right. We decided on this other name. I get the fifth Aliyah, and the fifth Aliyah is the story of Dinah and Shem. So all I hear for the whole Aliyah is Dinah. And then by the end of it, I was like, oh my days, I don't know what to do. I can't run home and ask my wife, So the Rebbe gets the sixth Aliyah, and as he stands up, because he's coming up and I'm stepping back, I look at him, I say, Rebbe, we decided on a certain name and I want to change the name. What do I do? And he looks at me and he goes like this. I don't know. So I ended up calling her Dinah, contrary to what we'd decided. And I got in a lot of trouble with a lot of people when I got home and whatever, but that was her name. So that's my connection to this parsha. Anyway, so the story of Shem ben Chamor, okay? Maybe we'll give the Indian. Well, let's start with a quick, simple question. We've got about 7 questions, and it's an Indian that I know Yitzi, but we'll see it inside in a really beautiful way. It's very beautiful. So Parsha's told us, it says Ve'ela told us Yitzhak ben Avram. Avram hoilid es Yitzhak. Avram gave birth to Yitzhak. Then Parshas Vayeshev, which is next, which is Parsha after this, Eila told us Yaakov Yosef ben Sheba. But the told us Yaakov is Yosef. The father comes before the son. Okay? By our Parsha, when it introduces Shem, Vaya Oisa Shem ben Chamor, it talks of Shem before Hamor. So in the 2 parshas cushioning Vayishlach, we mention Avraham, who gave birth to Yitzhak, and Yaakov, who gave birth to Yosef, and in the middle we have Shem ben Hamor. We put Shem before Hamor. I know it's a different context, but the question is still there. Why is Shem before Hamor when we've got in between it's cushioned in between these 2 parshas where we talk about the father giving birth to the son. Okay, so this is the whole thing is like this, and we're going to see how it plays out in lots of different ways in the parsha. Is the nefesh of Bahamis is Shalom Aleichem. The nefesh of Bahamis, called our human soul, is primarily emotional. The nefesh of Akis, our godly soul, our Jewish soul, is primarily intellectual, primarily intelligent. So it means like this. Emotions are born of the intellect. There's only one place emotions come from, that's from the intellect. So when that statement wasn't completely true, there is other ways, but most of the time emotions come from intellect. They can also come from like physiological processes, but emotions generally come from intellect. They're born from intellect. Meaning, if I was to ask you right now what your feelings are towards what's going on in Rwanda, yeah, you'd likely say, I don't have any, I don't know. If you don't know about something, how can you have any feelings towards it? So in both souls, the emotions are born of the intellect. But once the emotions have been born, now we've got a question. Who's running the show? Once the emotions have been born in the godly soul, in the holy soul, now the intellect manipulates and moves the emotions. The intellect controls and guides the emotions. In the animal soul, in the animal soul, the emotions hijack the intellect. Now, the mashal for this is a holy family and an unholy family. In the holy family, the parents are machanech the children. In an unholy family, the children are spoiled, meaning the children hijack and manipulate the parents.
Wow.
These are two very opposite ways. This is from top down or from bottom up. The holy way is that the intellect is in control of the emotions. That doesn't mean you can't have powerful, vibrant, intense emotions. It just means that you're not going to do something that you're going to regret because you're all emotional. You can get mamash really, really freilich, but your mind is always able, if necessary, to jump in and to stop. Yeah, as opposed to being completely out of control. That's a holy way, and the mind is guiding and directing and manipulating, in a sense, guiding the emotions. In the unholy soul, the emotions hijack the mind and do one of two things, or both things. Number one, they use the mind to justify what you're doing and to execute what you're doing, to fulfill your emotional desires. So that's exactly the case of a family which the parents have been machanech the children, and the opposite, where the parents are being spoiled, the children are being spoiled because they're manipulating the parents. They've kind of hijacked the parents. And that's exactly how it is in the seichel and the midas. Okay, we have our intellect and we have our emotions. The emotions are the moshel, the emotions of the children, because the emotions are always born of the intellect, and the intellect is the parents. So by Shem ben Hamor, this is the story. We're going to see how amazing it is. This is the story of the unholy relationship between the intellect and the emotions and behavior. So in the holy trap, you've got the intellect guides the emotions, and the emotions are naturally born into behavior, into good behavior. That's how it goes. Okay. So we've got a bunch of questions. That answers up the first question. Why does it say by Avraham that by Yitzhak, Avraham gave birth to Yitzhak, and by Yaakov gave birth to Yosef? But by Shem, it says Shem Shechem ben Hamor in the same pastures, in the same place, because it's Shechem who came first. So now, why does it say, we're going to ask another 6 questions. Why does it say that he saw her? It says, Vayah oisa Shechem ben Hamor hachivi, Nasi Oretz v'yikach oisa v'yishkav oisa v'ya'aneh. That he saw Dinah. Okay, that's the first question.
As opposed to what? Of course he has to see her. What does that mean?
Why do we need to hear that? Why did he need to hear that? Why can't we just say that he was ma'aneh? Why can't he just say he raped her? Why does he have to say he saw her? Okay. Why also was Hamor just a Nasi? Why wasn't he a Melech? There's lots of Melachim at this time, and what's the inyan of him being a Nasi? Yeah, we don't hear anything really about Nasiim over here, and then especially at the end of the parsha, it's all about Melachim. Why wasn't he a Melech? Why is Hamor called Hamor? That's a good question. Yeah, donkey. That's a funny name. Yeah, and why is Shechem called Shechem? Shechem means your shoulders. It also means to wake up early. Hashkama saboker, like the minion Hashkama. That's from Lashon Shechem. Okay, and why did he rape Dinah? Why was it rape? Why wasn't it consensual? Why did he have to rape her? She ended up living with him anyway. Like, why was it rape? And then why does the Aliyah end with Yaakov receiving a new name? And it says an interesting Lashon, because it says like this: Vayom Eloi Elokim, Shimcha Yaakov. It says Shimcha Yaakov. Your name is Yaakov. Lo Yikra Shimcha Oid Yaakov. Your name will no longer be called Yaakov. Kim Yisrael Yesh Shmecha. That your name will be Yisrael. The Yikra Esh Shemoy Yisrael. It's interesting. It says it in a lot of places in the Chumash, but it says V'Yikra Esh Shemoy Yisrael. It says he called his name Yisrael. Why doesn't it say V'Yikra Yisrael? He called him Yisrael. Why is he called his name Yisrael? Why didn't he just say him called him Yisrael? Of course you call him his name. Why you call him his name? Okay. So let's answer all the questions. So the first thing we said, we already explained, that in the holy relationship, the intellect guides the emotions, meaning the parents educate the children. In the unholy relationship, the emotions guide the intellect, which means the children manipulate the parents. That's why he was called Shechem ben Hamor, and we spoke about Avraham being Yolid Yitzhak and Yaakov being Yolid Yosef. Okay. The second question is, what's the inyan of him seeing? Why was it that he saw her and then he raped her? Why wasn't it just told us that he was ma'aneh? Why did it have to say that he saw her? So there's a Rashi in Bamidbar, he brings from a midrash, and it says, "Halei ve'inayim he'meraglim laguf." The eyes and the heart are the spies of the goof. And they help him for the Avera. And this is the inyan. Ha'ayin roya v'halev choimed v'haguf oises Avera. The eye sees, the lave burns, and then the goof does the Avera. Looking is always very chetzoni, as we've learned. Hearing is very panimi, but looking is very chetzoni. So he saw her, and then he was choimed. It was kulu taiva. Kulu taiva. Not that we even needed to say that so much, but it was kulu taiva. So that was the inyan of him seeing her. It was a very emotional. That was the inyan of Shem, because the ayin roeva halev choimed. Shem is the child. That's the heart. So the eye sees, the lave is choimed. Where's the intellect there? What's that going to do with the intellect? Nothing. That's kulu emotion. Okay. Wow. Then why was it that Hamor was a Nasi and not a Melech? Because Melech is not Trikan, is Rosh Hashanah, Moyach Leiv Koved. The inyan of the Melech, a Melech is a man whose Moyach is Shoyle ala Leiv, which is Shoyle ala Koved. That's the holy system. The holy way is that the mind is in control of the heart, and the heart is in control of the guf and zel. That wasn't Hamor. Hamor wasn't a melech, because he was being used by Shechem, his son. It was this idea of the spoiled child, where the emotions are manipulating the father. Okay, so why is he called Hamor? Hamor is a chamor, a donkey. You ride a donkey. You direct the donkey. The donkey doesn't tell you where to go. You tell the donkey where to go. That's who Hamor is. Shechem, the child, in a sense, should be the Hamor to his father. But in this case, Shechem was using his father for his own purposes. So Hamor was a Hamor, being ridden by Shechem. It's also Oisius, Moach Reish. Moach, Reish, the word, it's the letter Reish, but the letter Reish is spelt in Milui, Reish Yud Shin, which means poor, impoverished. So Moach Reish, Chamor, means that the mind is impoverished, it's weak, and that's the whole Inyan. Again, the whole Inyan. Now, why is he called Shechem? This is very beautiful. So the din of Hashkamas Haboiker, the Shulchan Aruch begins, the first sif is Hashkamas Haboiker Yisgaver Ka'ari. There's a kesher between Hashkamas Haboiker and Yisgaber Ka'ari. And an Ari, we know Gur Arya Yehuda. Yeah, Yehuda's compared to an Ari. And like they say, the Goyim say, the king of the jungle is the lion. Yeah? So Shechem was Bechinas Melech. Chamor was the one who was being manipulated by Shechem. Shechem and being Misgaber Ka'ari are connected with each other. Hashkamas Haboiker, Lashon Shechem. Misgaber Ka'ari. And Ari is Bechinas Melech. So Shechem was the Bechina of Melech. He was ruling over his father. Also, by Shaul, it says, Yitz is holding with Shaul right now. We learned a few weeks ago. He had a son, Ushmoy Shaul, Bachor, the Toiv, the Ein Ish Mebnei Yisrael Toiv Memenu. He was Givoldik. And it says like this: Mish Chamoy Umala Gavoy Mekol Ha'am. He was a head taller than everybody else. From Lashon Shechem. Shechem, meaning that his shoulders, again, just connected to the Inyan of Melech. Connected to the Inyan of Melech. So the father should be the Melech. The child should be the Nasi. But in this case, the child was the Melech and the father was the Nasi. You with me? So why was Dinah? Why was it Dinah? And why was it Ma'aneha? Sorry?
Yeah, why was Dinah raped? Why was it not consensual?
Yeah, and also why was it Dinah? Why Dafka Dinah? Couldn't it be? It could have been anyone. Yeah, Dafka Dinah. Let me just put my mazgam up. So Dinah is Lashon Malchus. Dinah de Malchus Dinah. Din is an Inyan of behavior. You with me? That's Malchus. Behavior. Levushim is what?
Levushim is behavior.
Yeah, exactly. But that's Malchus. What is that? What are the three Levushim of behavior?
Thought, speech, action.
Yeah. So Dina symbol Din de Malchus Dina. Dina is Bechinas Malchus, which is the Inyan of behavior. When the emotions are in control, the behavior has to be forced. It's not a natural progression. It's not natural. The person's not in a natural situation. The natural situation should be the mind guides the emotions, and then the behavior is a natural progression. But if the emotions are in control of the system, then there's going to be an Inyan of rape, so to speak, by the behavior. The expression will be a forced one. It's not a natural progression. It's not how we weren't built to do that. Yeah, the human being was built with his mind in control of his emotions, and his emotions expressing themselves in action. If the emotions are in control of the mind, then there has to be an extra kind of violence to get the behavior going. Okay, and then finally, this is a very deep, beautiful point. Shem is, see, it says, we said by why was it he called his name Yisrael? At the end of the whole shtick, Yisrael's name gets changed to Yisrael, and it says 3 times in the pasuk Shmecha, Shimcha. It says Vayomer lo Elokim Shimcha Yaakov. Your name is Yaakov. Lo yikra Shimcha oid Yaakov. Your name Shimcha is not going to be called Yaakov anymore. Ki Yisrael yeh Shmecha. Your name Shmecha will be Yisrael. V'yikra Shemoi Yisrael. And he called his name Yisrael. Yeah? Shimcha. What's the inyan of the name? Yeah, we could talk about this for hours. So we're holding a little bit in Yanim, so we'll say it quickly. You have a name. Yeah, you're not your name. You have a name. You could change your name. It's something that you have. Who's the you? Shmecha. Your name. Yeah, there's you. You is the unformed, infinite black part of the eye. You can't talk about you can't talk about who you are. It's nameless. It's the thing that has a name. It's not a thing. It's the one that has a name, but it's not a name. You're beyond name. That's why we say Hare At Mukudeshes Li. You would think we would say Hare Sarah Cohen Mukudeshes Li, but we say Hare At, you. We go beyond the name. Marriage is all about going beyond the name to the person. So Shimcha, by Yaakov, it was Shimcha, your name. And he said, I'm going to call your name. I'm not going to call you Yaakov. I'm going to call your name Yaakov. Your name is Yaakov, Shimcha. Shem is the chaf, has been taken and put in the middle of the shin and the mem. So instead of Shimcha, it's Shem, Shin, Kaf, Mem. That means in Shem, this is a very beautiful, deep idea. The person got nivla into the shame. The person got lost in his shame. He's just a shame, and it's a shame. He's just a shame. The Cha, which is Chaf, which is Kesa, which is the person, which is above Chochmah, which is the formless, untouchable, infinite point of who we all are, that got consumed into his name. That's a tragedy. That's the story of Shem and Hamor.
Beautiful. So just to understand, because in this topic of shame is essentially, there's like the mahus of a being. That's not, I'm Avi, I'm not Avi. My mahus is who I am on the inside of what my tafkid is and what my what my tafkid is. Whereas Shem, you're saying Shem got so tied up in his name that what was, and maybe I missed it when I came in late, what was the significance of the name Shem? So what was it that he got lost in?
We said it's the idea of it. A person who's caught up in emotion. I was just saying this to Yitzi. This just hashgacha. A person caught up in emotion, he doesn't say, "I have a feeling of sadness in me." He just says, "I'm sad. I'm angry. I'm happy."
Or I feel sad. I feel angry. Yeah.
But people.
But it's not in me.
It's I am it.
I am sad.
People get caught. People lose themselves in
the emotion.
It's not that I have. See, emotions from Russian emotion. Yeah, they're moving. They flow through you. They come and they go. You 1 minute you're feeling horrible. The next minute you're feeling great. You know, it goes to a week that way, a week this way, an hour that way, an hour this way. But the emotional person who can't separate himself from the emotions, that's what we're talking about here. that the chaf gets nivla into the name, that the essence.
That was the Vayar Isa, that he got caught up in his emotions. That's why he said Vayar. That's what you were saying before you said Vayar?
Yeah, the whole thing I said before, you meant that you can catch the rerun, but
yes.
said a lot of, the whole thing is that Shem is the emotions, Chamor is the intellect, and how it worked out in this case is that Shem was using Chamor to get what he did. So that was the whole Indian. Okay, so another couple of they're quick, much quicker points, but they're very nice. They're cute as well. Is that the Indian of Ruchnius and Kedusha? See, in our generation, because we live in a world of, this is a completely new thing, yeah? In our generation, because we live in a world of such thick Gashmias, we think that Ruchnius is Kadosh. That is a terrible, terrible mistake. Ruchnius is not Kadosh. Ruchnius is Ruchnius. Just like Gashmias is not Kadosh, Gashmias is Gashmias. And the biggest mistake that I had for many years, until I learned from my Rebbe how it really is that I thought as a Yid, our job is to infuse the Gashmias with Ruchnius. That's the basic thing that we're always taught. As a Jew, your job is to infuse the Gashmias with Ruchnius. Yeah? But if you want to be really much tighter with the Lashon, because there's such a thing as Ruchnius that is not Kadosh. Kadosh means it's not about you. It means it's about Hashem. So when it's about you, it's not Kadosh. So there can be Ruchnius that is not Kadosh. People doing meditation, if it's about the experience that they're having and the pleasure they're getting from the meditation, it is no better. In fact, it's much worse than eating a chocolate bar. It's about them. It's a selfish pleasure. You want to eat chocolate and you want to go off into the oilamas. Yeah? What's holy about that? It's about your experience. It's about your pleasure. So it's not about infusing the Gashmias with Ruchnius. It's about infusing the Ruchnius with Elokus, and it's about infusing the Gashmias with Elokus, and it's about infusing the Ruchnius with Elokus. Ruchnius without Elokus is even more dangerous and more damaging than Gashmias without Elokus, because at least I
would say, or infuse the Ruchnius with the Elokus, and then take that Ruchnius and infuse it into the Gashmias.
Well, that's the Elokus as well, but I mean that would be the Elokus going in as well. You're right. You can say that as well if you want to talk about that. The Ruchnius being the emotion or the energy that will drive it. But that's also really Gashmi. The emotion is. We could talk about that for a long time.
What does that mean? Use it with Elokus. What does that really mean practically?
Make it Kaddish.
Question. Thank you. It means stop doing stuff for yourself. You're here to serve the Rebbeinu Shloim. It's not about your.
So if you're having a Ruchniistic meditation experience, you're doing it for Hashem, not for yourself. That makes it Elokus.
If you are, that's great. So just like sometimes when you're freaking out, you need to eat a chocolate bar to bring yourself back to like normalcy. That's
do it for the Ratzon of Hashem.
Don't think because you're meditating that is intrinsically holy. It is not holy, Bichlal. It's so just.
If I'm in Shul and let's say I'm in the middle of there's Kedusha and it's a beautiful Kedusha, there's a Kiddush and there's beautiful singing and I'm like, wow, it's amazing. Like I'm having a great time. This is unbelievable.
Wonderful.
So where
flip the switch where you're trying to do it L'Ratzon HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Bring the other kuss into it.
The only reason I'm happy is for Hashem. I'm happy for you, Hashem. For you.
You're enjoying. I mean, when you're having the experience during Kedusha, you're in a mitzvah anyway. So that's Kadosh. That's being Makadesh the Ruchnius. Like, what does Hashem want for you? Does he want you to be Ruchnius or Gashmius? It depends.
Doesn't matter.
On Yom Kippur, he wants you to be Ruchnius. On Purim, he wants you to be Gashmius.
But it should all be Lelikus.
But that's the point. That's what you'd know about. See, Goyim are about Ruchnius. Goyim's the human concept of God is that he's the most elevated level of Ruchnius. But we understand that Hashem is not Ruchni Bichlal. Hashem is Mamash. Hashem is Hashem. Hashem is Hashem. He's not Ruchnius. Ruchnius is a Nivra.
I think a good example is Lahavdil is the Buddhists who go up into the mountains and they seclude themselves from everything. It's about themselves being secluded from everything, cutting everything off from their life. Whereas we want to farbring so that we can bring kedusha into farbringing. We want to
many
bring.
people they want to change themselves. They change the world. People have that attitude.
That could be as well. I don't know about any. You need to know on a case to case basis, and it's not helpful to judge it anyway. But the avoider is to draft the ruchnius into mitzvah. Ruchnius does not have a milah over gashmius in and of itself. And in fact, it's more dangerous in a lot of ways, because at least when somebody's munching on kugel and chulent, they feel like a behemoth. Whereas when somebody's doing, deep transcendental meditation, they can feel that they're, the Kodesh Kadoshim, Mamash, the Kohen Gadol. And if it's not connected to mitzvah, then it's not Kaddish.
Where's the parsha?
So?
Is there a parsha related to this?
Yes, so this is, I'm going to read you an Or Chaim here that's a shtickle like this. It says like this. So the Or Chaim, it's when it's on the first pasuk, Vayishlach Malachim, yeah? He sent Malachim. So he said, the Or Chaim says, Achain, Kavanas Akasuvi, that says Tam La'om of Yishlach Malachim. The point of the pasuk is to give you a reason why he sent Malachim. Lami Shtamesh Meshal Shei Elyoin Eloi Tzorech. Why did he use Malachim, spiritual beings, when there was no need? He could have sent menches. He could have sent regular people. Why did he send spiritual beings? Yeah, this is beautiful. You hear where I'm going with this, yeah?
What's the he sent spiritual beings, his malachim, where? What was the purpose? Can you remind me?
To tell Esav.
Esav.
To bring the matanas to Esav and to appease him, and
he was about to meet his brother after.
Okay.
Yeah. So he sends malachim, angels, like actual spiritual beings. Why didn't he send menches? Why didn't he send regular boss of Adam men? He says like this. So he said, Yaakov said, Kihutzrach lahem letzad shahashlichus hu el Esav hu Adam Godol. He sent them, why? Because of their shlichus, because Esav was an Adam Godol. He's a big person, Kiyadua, lefi divrei himself. And if he had sent other beings, like people, instead of spiritual beings, he might not have paid any attention to them. He wouldn't have held them as being choshev. It was dafka because of their ruchnius that he held them as being choshev. That's the eyes of Esav. If he had sent regular people, he wouldn't have seen them as choshev, meaning that Esav, dafka Esav, sees ruchnius as something higher than gashmius. We don't do that. Okay. You don't see that.
That's what you're trying to say. Okay.
Or it could even be that he would start to beat them up because he doesn't hold any cheshivas to him. And it could be that he'd like swoop down afterwards on Yaakov, which wouldn't have been the case if they were actual spiritual beings. Meaning that it's Esav. It takes an Esav to think that Ruchnius has a milah over Gashmius. Ruchnius does not have a milah over Gashmius. Elokus is what we're all about. Kedusha, not Ruchnius. And don't get me wrong, a lot of people, when they say Ruchnius, they mean
Kedusha.
They mean
right.
Exactly.
That's the problem.
Exactly. So most people are miscovered to this and they know this.
Right.
I'm just being tight on the Lashon, and I'm coming to be mamayit certain things that I've seen in my life where the Ruchnius became an end unto itself.
It's an important differentiation.
Very much so.
Because like one of the things I daven for every single day is that there should be ruchnius infused into my life, in my house, and my children. But you're absolutely right. It's not stam the ruchnius. It's not the ruchnius. It's the kus. It's the kedusha. 100%.
Ruchnius is available to human beings. Elokus and kedusha is not available. We're in Am Kadosh. That's only available to Yisrael. Yeah. So the human, all the humans in this world, they have a chiyuv to become the most elevated level of ruchnius. But we have a chiyuv to become elokus. That's where we're trying to get to.
Very nice.
I'm gonna just say we have another couple of minutes, or should we finish?
No more.
I have time.
Okay, so one last quick idea. Another Or Chaim, that when Yaakov comes to Esav, he says to him that I'm going to be your Eved, I'm your Eved, all my possessions are yours. That's the Lashon one. So where's the Pasuk? Okay, so
Yeah. For Chassi also, something like that. Kachna es berchasi asher hov salach. No. Yeah, as you say. So you've said by Kaya.
Change your brother is still behaving like
Actually, Rav Achi Yilecha Shalach.
Oh, that
Oh,
was
that's
your,
Esav back to him.
yeah. This is I'm your servant Yaakov.
Right.
Kama Avdach Yaakov Im Lavan Gati Vehili Shor Chamor, for all this stuff. I want to give it all to you. I want to give everything. So it's the Lashon that the
What was the Lashon? I missed it. What was it?
First Pacho is Eved Loi Shaloi Haya Shum Nium Krise. There's an Am of Yili Shor. For me,
What pasuk is that?
Sorry?
What pasuk is that?
Lamed Beis Hay.
Okay. Yeah.
It's Lamed. It's not just Hay. It's the beginning of the whole thing.
Yeah. Okay, fine.
He's giving him the Lashon that the Or Chaim says, "V'afal pikein haneni mazmin atzmi le'eved lecha v'kinyane kinyanecha." This is what the Or Chaim says. I have all of this stuff, and I'm your Eved, and all of my things are yours. That was basically the Lashon that Yaakov used, yeah, as the Or Chaim says. V'afal pikein, even though I have all this stuff, hineni mazmin atzmi le'eved lecha. I mazmin myself to be an Eved for you. The kinyani kinyanecha, and all my kinyanim are going to be your kinyanim. And this is what it says: "V'devarim elu yasichu leiv even." These things melted a heart of stone.
Huh?
They melted Esav's heart. They spoke straight to his heart.
They melted a heart of stone.
Melted the heart of what?
They melted
Stone.
a heart of stone. Esav's heart.
Stone.
So Or Chaim says that it melted a heart of stone. And this is a beautiful insight into the ego, into the whole world of the ego. Is the ego, why can't an ego deal with other people? An ego can deal with other people if you're there for them. To the ego, it's got one of three options. Either it loves you, it hates you, or it's indifferent to you. If you're not a threat to it in any way, yeah, but you've got nothing to offer it, it's indifferent. It doesn't care if you're alive, if you're dead, if you're there, if you're not there, nothing. You don't exist. If you're threatening me in any way, you're being mamayate me in any way, I hate you.
On the defense, yeah.
And if you're able to add something to me, then I love you. That's called an antagonistic reality. You're living in a fragmented, separated, isolated, independent, separate reality. And there's me, and there's all these antagonistic things and beings and people, whatever, yeah? So the ego erects a wall. I think Yitzi, you remember the very first shir we ever gave? This is what we spoke about, this wall around you, yeah? So that's called a heart of stone in the Sfarim. A person who's a big ego, he creates himself a heart of stone, meaning he surrounds himself.
Guarded.
he
Doesn't let himself be
delineates-
vulnerable.
It's not that as well, absolutely, but also he delineates himself. This is where I end, and like what you said, Avi, you can't come in here. I've delineated myself. It's the idea of that this is my space. That's called the heart of stone. So when Yaakov, originally he's with all this stuff, yeah, Esav looks at him and is like, wow, that's mamayet me. You've got more than me. That makes me feel less. So his heart becomes stone. And then Yaakov says, no, I'm here for you. Well, it's all about you. And at that point, Esav's heart melted. It's like, okay, if you're here for me, then that's fine. I'm going to let you in.
Now we can talk.
Yeah, that's Esav.
I just thought it's interesting in this pasuk over here, and there's these few psukim. Did Yaakov not risk giving up his whole brachas that he fought for in this moment, and the whole bechira? Like, wasn't this like him be Eved? Esav's kind of everything.
Yeah, I don't know if he meant it in that, like the pshat. I don't think he meant it in the way of actually becoming Eved. It was more like I hear what you're saying. But
Saying everything that's mine is yours.
Yeah, that's what Orchaim says.
It's a
At the
pasuk
end, he
shot in
gave him like a
Rashi also.
certain, huh?
It's shot in the Rashi.
Yeah,
in the
yeah, no,
regular
yeah, I hear you.
psukim.
And maybe you could just say that the Bechor is much more than just what you have. Maybe it's got nothing to do with what you have.
Well, but the transaction was a clear, easy transaction with contractual transaction.
Yeah.
And if it can be taken that easily, it should be able to give it away that easy too.
Yeah.
It's interesting, Hara.
Yeah. Okay, shkoyach, Chevre.
Okay, shkoyach. Have a great Shabbos. Take care, Yitzi.
Shabbos. All the best, guys.
Zay gesund.